It's baffled scholars for 2 millennia. It is a puzzle made of multi-dimensional elements, an enigma with roots that reach back to the dawning of time, perhaps before. Daniel explained part of it. Ezekiel and Isaiah had glimpses into it. John saw it all for the time of the end. That time is now. Join Derek and Sharon Gilbert on a journey that spans the course of history, from Eden to Mount Hermon, from Hermon to Babel, from Babel to Rome, from Rome to the cross, and from there to us. Biblical prophecy is coming true before your eyes, and to understand it, you must discern the times both then and now. It's time to unravel the threads of this all-encompassing prophetic paradox. It's time to unravel Revelation.
The power of the 2 witnesses. Welcome to Unraveling Revelation from Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and we are very, very glad that you've chosen to join us once again in our home.
And we are back to discussing the 2 witnesses and the time that they will be prophesying and witnessing on the earth. And
a lot of things happen.
Yeah. We had started on this in our last study, but there are some really interesting things that take place, and some that, of course, tie back to what we discussed previously with David W. Lowe about the earthquake resurrection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, before we get too far, I want to thank our good friend. We just made these friends, and we're so happy to meet them. Mary Ann Gilbert Markarian. She's an amazing singer. You really need to check out her CDs. But she gifted me these beautiful earrings. Oh, one of them just fell off.
They came to visit us at Skywatch TV not long ago. Had the opportunity to meet them, and they've been supporters of our good friends at Morningside. Jim Baker and Zach Drew, in fact, made the introduction for us.
Yes.
So.
Well, praise God that the 2 witnesses don't have to worry about being old, because they are resurrected, and they are coming back to earth, and when they get here, they're all out of bubble gum.
Yeah, a little cultural reference there, but we kind of left off discussing the interesting reference to Sodom and Egypt in context with them after the 3.5 years of their witnessing in Jerusalem, and the symbolic connection between Jerusalem and Sodom and Egypt, and then we connected that to the funeral procession of Jacob when he was led out of Egypt. Joseph, of course, was at the head of this, and
which connects us not only to Egypt but also to Sodom.
Sodom, right? Because as Dr. Philip Sylvia, thank you, who is the science director for the dig at a site in Jordan called Tal El Hammam, which is the site of ancient Sodom.
Need more coffee.
The evidence points to it. That is apparently where they mourned Jacob 7 days before they then crossed the Jordan at Jericho and then traveled south and west to Hebron and buried them there in the Cave of the Patriarchs.
And when you and I read this for the first time during Gilbert House Fellowship, we both looked at one another and said, now why would he do that?
It is clear that it's a site beyond the Jordan, and according to Dr. Sylvia, the site that makes the most sense is the meadow of weeping, which is a translation of the name of the place given in the book of Genesis chapter 50.
And don't they also call it the meadow of Mitzrayim or something like that?
Yes.
The meadow of the Egyptians?
Right. Because that's where the Egyptian procession came and mourned Jacob for a week before then taking him down to Hebron. So anyway, so you've got this interesting symbolic connection there between Egypt, Jerusalem, Sodom, and of course the patriarch of the tribes of Israel. So that left us at verse 8 of Revelation chapter 11. And if we continue on now, again, we believe that the 3.5 years of the 2 witnesses, their ministry, and the power that they exhibit, which echo the miracles and the power that Elijah and Moses had, which is why one of the reasons we believe Elijah and Moses are the 2 witnesses. That coincides with the first 3.5 years of the 7-year Great Tribulation period.
I believe it does. I believe that when they start witnessing, now day 1, that's day 1 of the tribulation period.
So that would follow.
And they're not here yet.
No, they're not here yet. And they're not just a symbol. The 2 witnesses don't just represent the internet or tech or whatever.
No.
It's literally 2 humans who are specially charged by God to return to earth and to bear witness to their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, the Messiah, whom both of them saw on Mount Hermon during the Transfiguration. And again, both of whom left this earth on the plains of Moab, just down the hill from the site of ancient Sodom. So there's that strange connection there again.
Isn't it interesting? There is nothing in the Bible that is coincidental.
No. Even these little details here.
And as Mike Heiser said, if it's weird, it's important.
That's right. In the Bible, weirdness is important. So their ministry then, beginning as it does, we believe, following the sixth seal, which is the great earthquake, and the sixth seal then coinciding with the rapture of the church, we are resurrected into glorified bodies. They appear as soon as that happens. And of course, when they disappear, well, you'll see.
Well, here, no, wait. No, say that again.
When they are caught up, I shouldn't say disappear, their ministry begins with the earthquake that triggers that accompanies, rather, the resurrection of the faithful, the dead in Christ.
Assuming that there isn't a sort of a pause between the rapture and
the Great Tribulation.
The first day of the Great first day of the Tribulation. You have to be careful. A lot of people think of the second half as the Great Tribulation.
Gotcha, okay.
So the final week of Daniel's prophecy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So
assuming that there's no gap, then yeah.
Right, and we don't know for sure because the Bible's not explicit in that.
No.
So, okay. Anyway, beginning at verse 9 then of Revelation 11.
Would you back up to 7?
Okay. Verse 7. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that rises from the bottomless pit will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. Again, a hint that what happens in Revelation is not all sequential because we've not yet gotten to Revelation 13, which is the emergence of the beast from the sea, the Antichrist.
It can be really confusing, but if you understand that John is being shown certain things, but he's not being shown these things in chronological order, in sequential order. Words.
It's the kind of storytelling that we've kind of gotten used to out of Hollywood lately, where you start seeing things happening present day, and then the next scene suddenly is happening 7 years earlier, and then the next scene is back to the present day.
It's like John goes from Patmos to the island of Lost. Except there's no plane crash at the beginning.
Right. So Revelation 11, verse 7 again. And when they have finished their testimony, the beast that rises from the bottomless pit will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. And their dead bodies will lie in the street of the great city that symbolically or spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where their Lord was crucified. Verse 9. For 3.5 days, some from the peoples and tribes and languages and nations will gaze at their dead bodies and refuse to let them be placed in a tomb, which is a
stop for a minute.
thing of great shame in the ancient world.
Yes.
Denied burial rights.
Yes. Now it says some. So here's the thing. Is it possible that it will be an honor to get to go and be one of the ones to go view them? And I'd say it's possible that they will be derided verbally, if not physically.
Oh, sure. And they will be, for the first 3.5 years, they'll be invulnerable. Think about that. For 3.5 years, these guys will be on cable news networks.
Yeah.
They'll be on webcams.
Yeah.
People will be taking selfies in front of them, sharing them, but they will be the enemy of social media.
Look, if you thought Donald Trump was the enemy, nuh-uh. These two are going to be the enemy. But whereas Donald Trump couldn't always fight back, they will.
Oh, yeah. The first part of Revelation 11 makes that clear, that they will have the power to basically take out anybody who tries to harm them.
Exactly. But of course, the beast, he's going to crow about it.
Right. Because we read in verse 10, those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them and make merry and exchange presents, because the two prophets have been a torment to those who dwell on the earth. This, interestingly, is the only party that we see described in the book of Revelation, other than what's going on in heaven, the celebration at God's victory.
Yes, that's a really, really good point. And of course, it coincides with the approximate timetable when in heaven there will be partying.
Yeah.
Because suddenly, as we'll get to that in a few minutes, you'll understand. But the 3.5 days, that's also approximately the time that the Lord was in the tomb.
Yes, and it's approximately the time that Lazarus was in the tomb.
Yes. I think it was the fourth day when the Lord arrived.
Right. So
And
3.5 days,
yes.
that would be the fourth day.
And that's a big deal because there's a belief that your spirit hangs around.
Yeah, and that leaves on the third day. The reason Jesus waited until Lazarus had been in the tomb until the fourth day was to make sure that everybody knew that Lazarus was well and truly dead. Hence the verse in Scripture, Lord, by this time he stinketh.
Yes. Well, by this time they
Right.
will stinketh.
Yeah, because Jerusalem, depending on time of year, Jerusalem can be pretty hot.
Pretty
Yeah.
warm. Now, I've heard this preached before, and I'm not saying I buy into this, but this verse in 10, this passage that says, "And the earth will rejoice over them and make merry and exchange presents." Now, I have heard it preached that that's actually a hint at the time of year that this takes place.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Now, it doesn't mean that it takes place in December, but it is intriguing. Again, I don't know that that's how I believe, but clearly they are partying. And I would say that, yes, they are taking selfies with them, and they are being watched. There's probably a cam on them at all times,
Right.
so people can watch and exchange gifts and have parties at home and be having a really great time. Until.
But after the 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
the way God animated Adam.
Exactly.
A breath of life from God entered them, and they stood up on their feet, and great fear fell on those who saw them.
Oh, no
Because
kidding.
Yeah, and again, in the first century, this would have been clear to all of John's readers in the first century. Oh, wait, they've been dead it's the fourth day. Their spirits have left them, and now they stand up again.
Yeah.
Well, this is essentially the same thing that happened to Lazarus and, of course, to Jesus of Nazareth. They've been resurrected from being well and truly dead. They stood up on their feet, and a great fear fell on those who saw them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies watched them. Now, verse 13.
Oh, no, stop. And they heard. Now, it probably means the bodies of the two witnesses, but it also might mean everyone who was there. So if there's an audible voice, the way the disciples heard, "This is my son in whom I am well pleased."
Yeah, it would.
That happened twice, when he was baptized and then again on Mount Hermon.
Yeah, it would seem that since the pronoun is referring back to they from the previous verse, it would appear that it's referring to the same group. I'm looking at the New English translation just to see how the translators there rendered it. Yeah, they say, it could mean either one. It could mean either they, the two prophets, or they, the crowd around them.
It may even be both.
It may be both, right.
It's clear that the prophets hear it.
Yeah. Verse 12 again, then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies watched them. And at that hour, there was a great earthquake, and 1/10 of the city fell. 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake, and the rest were terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven.
It's another one of those, has that always been in there? Because I always picture everybody panicking and cursing God because of the deaths and the earthquake. But we gave glory to the God in heaven.
Yeah. Let's discuss who the they in verse 13 might be, and we'll talk a little bit more about this idea of earthquakes and resurrection when Unraveling Revelation continues.
A child who is trafficked is sexually abused on average 5 to 15 times a day, and only 1% of these crimes are ever reported. This unimaginable darkness must be stopped. And right now, we want to invite you to join us in the fight to end child sex trafficking. Skywatch TV is proud to announce the Silent Cry Help the Children package. When you order the groundbreaking new feature documentary movie Silent Cry from film visionary Josh Peck, you'll learn firsthand from the world's most renowned experts in the fields of trafficking, pedophilia, and Satanism how Hollywood elites are actively engaged in the sexual exploitation of children, why the mainstream media and culture are attempting to normalize pedophilia, why we can't depend on the government to eradicate this ever-present evil, and what the risks are to you, your family members, and communities. Plus, the lead authorities from the Silent Cry movie are back in the never-before-released Covert Investigation on DVD, featuring pivotal, never-before-seen commentaries that couldn't be included in the original Silent Cry film. From cases of demonic possession to satanic perversion, experts on the front lines discuss the worst crimes fathomable being committed against the most innocent amongst us. You'll also receive the brand new MP3 audio series on CD, A Cult of Perversion. In this explosive series, experts like Russ Dizdar, William Ramsey, and others share extremely sensitive research into the most perverse evils plaguing our country now, proving through over 12 hours of content that believers must combat this spiritual malevolence for the sake of our children. This incredible package also includes the never-before-released DVD Fake News or Hidden Truths. Join investigative researcher Stephen Bancars as he guides you through the most current research into the Pizzagate scandal. Is it all conspiracy? Who is involved? How does it pertain to events unfolding right now? Stephen shares explosive new revelations on the subject that have come to light since Pizzagate first broke and haven't been revealed to the public until now. Finally, the paradigm-shattering audio series by Dr. Thomas Horn himself, The Hidden Occultism of Epstein's Orgy Island. What demonic atrocities were going on at Epstein Island? And who were the high-powered individuals involved in some of the darkest occultic activities the world has ever witnessed? The contents of this mind-boggling 3-part exclusive MP3 audio series comes directly from the private vault of Dr. Thomas Horn. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of $135. Yours now for your donation of only $35 plus shipping and handling while supplies last. An excess of 500,000 children are being trafficked every single day in our country alone. Now is the time to take action. 100% of the profits from your donation for the Silent Cry Help the Children package goes directly to Whispering Ponies Ranch, a safe haven where children who have been abused in unimaginable ways can find rehabilitation and healing in Jesus Christ. The Silent Cry Help the Children package, available now at skywatchtvstore.com. Order now or call 1-844-750-4985.
Here are the upcoming conferences and events featuring the team from Skywatch TV. For a full list and complete information, log on to skywatchtv.com/events or download our free mobile app for iOS and Android devices and Amazon Kindle Fire tablets. We have links to the app stores posted at skywatchtv.com.
Welcome back to Unraveling Revelation from Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert.
I'm Sharon Gilbert, and if you've been trying to watch Unraveling Revelation in the archives at unravelingrevelation.tv, and you've noticed that not all the shows are there. It has to do with just a tiny little thing that happened in the last few days, having to do with our entire channel just being wiped from the face of the earth at a certain video site.
Yeah, the most popular video site that just happens to be owned by the most powerful technology company on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Well, they deleted the videos, and so we've been spending the last few days rebuilding everything. But
they were backed up on another server.
Right,
they
right.
just need to point to that server now.
So in the process of doing that, but by the time you see this, hopefully it will be fixed either all or in part. But the newest programs are there. You can see them all at unravelingrevelation.tv, the newest programs. The older archives beginning about the beginning of 2020, going back to the origin of the program in 2019. Still need to repoint the links, but that should be done in a day or so. So we appreciate the fact that we got so many emails from people saying, hey, we were trying to watch the Riders of Zechariah and we can't see the we're still in the process of just changing the links, but that will be fixed. And we have moved all new content for Skywatch TV, Unraveling, Revelation, Sci Friday. All of that is going to a new channel for Skywatch TV at rumble.com. Rumble.com. Just do a search for Skywatch TV and you should find the channel there. That is a company that's a little more friendly toward conservative and especially conservative Christian voices. And so you'll find a lot of people moving over to that platform.
It's a really great platform.
Yeah.
And by the way, two things. One is that if you haven't downloaded our app yet, we really encourage you to do that. It's a great way to have access to all of the programs, plus all of the news that Tom Horn curates all the time. And you will be supporting not just us. You're supporting Subsplash, which is the hosting company, and they also provide the app for us. They're a Christian company.
Right. So they have not had any issues with anything that we've posted to the internet and use their channel. They also power our Roku and Apple TV channels. And of course, you can see all of the Unraveling Revelation episodes at Roku or Apple TV, just a free download for the Skywatch TV channel. Look for those in those app stores. SkywatchTV.com has links to all of this information. So you don't need to remember it right now. Just go to SkywatchTV.com and look in the top channel where it says Skywatch TV app. And you'll find links there for the mobile app, for the Roku app, Apple TV. If you've got an Apple TV, go to the Apple TV App Store and search for Skywatch TV app. You'll find that there. And there are channels for all of our video programs, the daily news updates, Sci Friday, the forthcoming new program, Bible's Greatest Mysteries, will be there shortly.
We're going to start recording that this coming week.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, this other video channel that will not be named thought to do us harm, but they didn't get anything. All of our stuff is online. We're just repointing the links, and once that's done, everything will be back to normal. They canceled us. Why not cancel them? Go over to Rumble, download our mobile app, bypass the gatekeepers of social media.
Exactly. And by the way, the second thing that I wanted to remind you of is that we are still going to Israel in October of this year, 2021. Go to skywatchinisrael.com, skywatchinisrael.com, and you can see, regardless of when you're watching this, it may be 10 years from now. If we're still going to Israel that year,
that's
and
where
we
all
want
the
to go
information
back
will be
as
placed.
often as possible.
Yep.
That's where you'll find it.
Yeah. So, well, the Earthquake Resurrection. If you've not seen it, the programs, the interviews with David W. Lowe, go back and check those out. His book, Earthquake Resurrection, was really influential to us. It was published about 15 years ago. You can still find it at Amazon.com or go to his website, earthquakeresurrection.com. The premise of the book is this, that the power of physical resurrection unleashes some sort of energy. We don't understand how or why. He connects it to the Shroud of Turin and portrays evidence in the Shroud of Turin from the Shroud of Turin examinations.
The scientific examinations make it appear that something almost nuclear happened.
Right. And he points to that odd incident in Matthew 27 where it records an earthquake, which geologists have now confirmed from core samples taken near the Dead Sea at En Gedi, that there was an earthquake around the year 31 AD, plus or minus 2 years. Pretty powerful earthquake.
Yeah.
That, of course, they wouldn't say that this was connected to the resurrection. They say Matthew probably borrowed that story for the... Okay, fine, whatever.
But you get people walking around.
And right.
They came out of their
connection.
tombs and walked around, and some of those tombs were closed by rocks, just like Jesus'
Yes.
was.
So here in Revelation 11, we've got this resurrection of the two witnesses, the two prophets, and a massive earthquake that destroys a tenth of Jerusalem, kills 7,000 people. Interestingly, just as Melchizedek told Abraham, a tenth belongs to the Lord.
You know, that is very true. In fact, that's why the tribe of Levi was given to the Lord, and everybody else just paid some money, and that replaced his taking their firstborn child. Yes,
so we've got
one more thing.
Yes.
You're going to talk about the earthquake that takes down a tenth of the city. There was a story that you talked about on your 5 and 10 that was in the news this past week, and it sort of hit us hard. Wait a minute. The ramp that the Jews, and it's the only way that the Jews are allowed to get up to the Temple Mount, and it's only on certain days that they're allowed up there. It's a rickety, wooden, scaffolded bridge. And you and I walked on along with our entire tour and many other people. and it's been walked on for years.
Yeah, it's up to 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It replaced a mound that was crumbling that led up to the
And this
Temple
was
Mount.
supposed to be a temporary access. Well, again, felt solid to us, but the news this week is that it's not as solid as we thought.
Yeah, an engineer took a look at it and found that it's got longitudinal cracks and that efforts to strengthen it have not succeeded. It needs to be replaced with a metal structure, but doing anything like that would facilitate Jews getting to the Temple Mount is probably going to be met with protests, if not violence, by Israeli Arabs and by the Waqf, which is the Jordanian authority that controls the Temple Mount.
Yes, and as you and I were saying this morning, what was Moshe Dayan thinking?
Yeah, back in 1967, when the Israelis captured the Temple Mount, Moshe Dayan, like many Israelis at the time, had grown up under Soviet rule and were very secular. And so they didn't really appreciate the spiritual significance of the Temple Mount. They thought it was just a historical curiosity. And if we're magnanimous and we allow the Muslims to continue to access the Temple Mount, then there will be peace. He didn't understand.
Except not.
This is the Har Moed, the Mount of Assembly. The Temple Mount in Jerusalem is with the site of Armageddon, Har Moed, as we talked about in a previous study. So very quickly, those who give glory to the God in heaven after the 7,000 are killed because they've witnessed the two witnesses depart on the fourth day. Would this be the remnant of Israel?
I would say that's probably it. Remember, we've had 144,000 Pauls who've been marked, and they've been going marked so that no one would bother them, and they've been going around preaching the gospel.
Right. And they've been hearing for 3.5 years the testimony of these two annoying prophets talking about this Yeshua that they denied during his first coming, and then suddenly a loud voice from heaven, and they are caught up in a cloud in front of the whole world.
And very quickly after this, we're going to have the Antichrist going into the temple and declaring himself Christ, declaring himself the new God, and Jesus says, when you see these things, run.
Yeah.
So these are the ones who will run.
Yeah. You're right. This is a sort of, has that always been in their moment? Because I had never remembered the rest giving glory to the God of heaven.
Me neither.
And it strikes me that this would be the logical place where suddenly the remnant of Israel would say, oh my, we've been misinformed.
And what does the angel say to John then? The second woe has passed. Behold, the third woe is soon to come. Remember, there was an angel in heaven saying, woe, woe, woe to the earth.
Yeah. Well, next week we will continue and move on to the third woe, which is the blowing of the seventh trumpet, as we're getting deeper into Revelation and closer to the arrival of the beast that emerges from the sea. We'll also talk about the street fight in heaven.
I love that one.
In the next couple of weeks as we get to the red dragon. And something that was pointed out to me recently too, the difference in the locations of the diadems worn by Satan and by the Antichrist. One wears the diadems on his heads, the other on his horns.
I know who told you that.
Yes. So, lots to come, and we thank you for coming along with us. This is Unraveling Revelation from Skywatch TV.
Unraveling Revelation is part of Skywatch TV. To learn more about Skywatch TV and the work of our sister ministry, Whispering Ponies Ranch, please visit our website, skywatchtv.com.